A billionaire returned home unannounced and was stunned to see the black Maid with his son. The smell of fresh herbs lingered in the air. Sunlight filtered softly through the window, casting warm shadows across the kitchen's pristine marble countertop. In the middle of it all sat a massive silver pot on the stove decorated with vegetables around its base like a staged photo shoot for a cooking show. Except nestled inside that pot was a baby. A laughing naked chubby white baby boy around 1 year old. His soft brown hair curled slightly from the heat. His pink cheeks glowing with amusement as he splashed at a bundle of parsley and a yellow squash. Standing over him, frozen mid-motion, was Yvette, a black woman in her mid-30s, her skin deep and smooth, her uniform crisp, white and black with ruffled sleeves and a matching headband. Her hands cooped the baby's small body inside the pot, keeping him steady. But her eyes were wide with horror across the room. The door slammed open. Brandon Mallister, 38, billionaire tech mogul, stood in the doorway, his light brown skin flushed with disbelief, his eyes locked on the baby, his baby in a pot on the stove, his mouth dropped open. What the hell is this? His voice echoed through the silent home. Yet flinched. Mr. Mallister, wait. Are you insane? He rushed toward them, nearly slipping on the tiles. Get him out. Get him out. Yet immediately lifted the baby, still giggling, clueless, out of the pot and cradled him to her chest. It's not what it looks like. Then what the hell is it? Brandon barked, face burning red. You put my son in a pot with vegetables. Are you trying to get arrested? I was giving him a cool bath. She snapped, a rare edge in her voice. He had a rash coming in. The doctor said lukewarm baths and letting him sit in greens would soothe his skin. You don't put a child in a damp stock on the stove. The stove wasn't on, she shouted back, then caught herself. Her breath trembled as she softened her voice. Please, I would never hurt him ever. Brandon's hands were still shaking. Why were there tomatoes? Zucchini? God, parsley? Do you know what that looks like? You think this is a joke? Tears welled in Yvette's eyes. He loves it. He thinks it's playtime. I've done this before. Ask the pediatrician if you don't believe me. The baby suddenly let out a squeal of joy, tugging at a wet sprig of cilantro, still clinging to his little belly. Brandon stared at his son, healthy, laughing, glowing, and then back at Yvette, who was trying to hold it together. He took a step back. His voice lowered, but his tone cut like glass. Who gave you permission to treat my son like some backyard science experiment? Yvette's jaw tightened. No one had to. You weren't here. The silence that followed was loud. Brandon exhaled, blinking. What did you just say? You weren't here. She repeated quietly. You've been gone for over a month. No calls, no updates. He needed care, attention, love, and I gave it. Brandon's expression twisted. Confusion, shame, and anger warring in his eyes. Yvette gently rocked the baby, who was now starting to fuzz. I didn't expect you to come back. No one did. He looked away for a moment, processing. You're just the maid, he muttered almost to himself. I'm the only one who's been here since his mother passed, she replied, each word deliberate. Don't reduce what I've done to a job title. Brandon stared at her, really looked at her for the first time, her trembling hands, her exhausted eyes. The baby's arm draped lazily around her shoulder, and suddenly the absurdity of what he walked in on began to collapse beneath the weight of context. He stepped back further. I need a minute. You've had plenty of minutes, Yet said under her breath. What was that? She shook her head. Nothing, sir. He turned and stormed out, muttering something about needing air. Yvette stayed in the kitchen, clutching the baby. Her knees felt weak, her throat tight. She looked down at the vegetables still scattered around the pot, then at the baby's face, now curling into a sleepy smile. You couldn't wait until nap time, huh? She whispered to him, brushing back a curl from his forehead. A tear rolled down her cheek, but she didn't let go. Brandon paced, his hands pressed against his temples, jaw clenched so tight it ached. The white marble floor felt cold beneath his socked feet. But all he could hear was the sound of that baby's laughter and the echo of Yvette's voice. You weren't here. He wanted to scream. He wanted to yell at someone, at her, at himself, at the silence. Instead, he dropped into the leather armchair and stared into space. He'd left for London to finalize an acquisition. For weeks turned to 5, then 6. The board needed him. The investors pressured him, and through it all he justified not calling because what could a baby possibly miss? He ran a hand over his face. A stockpot, he muttered. Jesus. Then he heard footsteps. Not rushed, not scared, just steady. Yet stood in the doorway holding the baby close. He was now dressed in a tiny onesie, chewing on a plastic spoon, his eyes big and sleepy. Brandon looked up. "I put him down for a nap," she said, voice neutral. He nodded slowly. They were quiet for a long beat. "I'm not going to report you," he said. She raised an eyebrow. "I wasn't waiting for that." "I was angry." "I noticed," he stood, but also confused. "You have to understand how that looked." "I do," she replied. "But you need to understand something, too. That child, Liam, he's been crying for you at night. Every time he hears a car door, he looks toward the hallway. Every time the phone rings, he reaches out like he thinks it's you." Brandon looked away. "I don't know what kind of father you thought you were being, but your silence didn't protect him from your absence." "That's not fair," he said. She stepped closer. "Fair. You dropped him off into my care 2 days after the funeral and vanished. No goodbyes, no instructions, just your credit card on the table." Brandon's chest rose and fell. "I didn't know how to face him after Amelia." "Neither did I," Yvette cut, voice trembling. "She was my friend, too, and yet I showed up." He lowered his gaze. "You're right." Yet blinked. "You're right," he repeated firmer. "I ran. I told myself work needed me, but really I couldn't look at Liam without seeing her. I didn't know how to hold a baby without feeling like I'd drop him." Her lips parted slightly. "I came back today because I missed him. I thought maybe I was ready." Yet crossed her arms. "Then be ready. He needs you." Brandon moved to the window and stared out at the trimmed hedges, his reflection faint in the glass. "I thought having money meant I could buy time, buy help, buy forgiveness." She stayed silent. "But walking in today and seeing him happy, safe, even if it looked insane, I realized I've missed everything that matters." He turned around. "How do I fix it?" She sighed. "You don't fix babies, Mr. Mallister. You show up for them." He gave a small nod. "I want to be involved now. I mean it. Can we start over?" I bet studied him. "Not for me. For Liam, of course." A long pause stretched between them. Then Yet turned toward the hallway. "Come on." "Where?" She glanced back. "He won't sleep long. And he's going to wake up looking for someone." Brandon followed. The room was soft and warm. The crib gently rocking with a faint lullaby plan. Liam stirred slightly, sucking on 2 fingers, eyes fluttering. Brandon stood over him, unsure. "Can I pick him up?" Yet gave a nod. "Support his neck. Don't rush." With trembling hands, Brandon leaned in and gently scooped the child up. For a moment, Liam squirmed, and then he nestled into Brandon's chest with a faint whimper, then calm. Brandon's breath hitched, his arms instinctively adjusted, his eyes closed. Yvette stepped back quietly. "I forgot how small he is," Brandon whispered. She smiled faintly. "Wait till he throws a spoon at your face." He chuckled softly, tears silently sliding down his cheeks. "I'm sorry," he whispered to Liam. "For everything." The baby stirred but didn't wake. Just rested. Yvette turned to leave, but Brandon called out. "Yvette," she turned. "Thank you. For loving him, for staying even when I didn't." She nodded once. "I didn't do it for you. I know that's why it means more." She looked at the man holding his son, no longer the billionaire, no longer the absentee, just a father, learning too late, but trying anyway. And maybe she thought that was enough to begin with. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.